The Grand Trade Council hall sparkled with expensive lights. Delegates from dozens of races sat in polished seats, wearing their finest uniforms. They leaned forward, eager to witness one of the galaxy's favorite spectacles, Earth's charity moment. At the head of the hall, the Polari ambassador, tall and graceful, pressed a small button on a golden console. A large crate descended from the ceiling. The crowd leaned in. "It is our honor," the ambassador began, voice smooth and .com, "to present Earth with the finest surplus of our abandoned tech free of charge." Laughter rippled through the room. Earth's delegation, a handful of worn uniforms and nervous faces, stood to accept. They bowed deeply, avoiding eye contact. A scout from Earth, young and eager, whispered to her friend, "We're just here so they don't laugh at us too badly." They had learned, long ago, how to accept humiliation. The galaxy believed Earth was broke, weak, and worthless. So the scraps, the old servers, damaged engine parts, cracked shields, arrived by the ton. It was a spectacle every quarter, ritual meant to make humans feel grateful. The Earth ambassador, gray-haired and exhausted, stepped forward. He smiled, bowed again, and accepted the crate with all the solemnity he could muster, though fear roared in his chest. He reached the podium, cleared his throat softly, and said, "Thank you for this generous contribution. We will ensure it serves our people well." He didn't smile. It would be fake. He didn't look up. It would be meaningless. The crates came down one after another: Polari cores, Threx, circuit boards, Valari shield emitters, scraps from every empire. The crowd chuckled. Some called Earth garbage men. Others called them pitiful. They were broken spirits in broken clothes. The ceremony ended. Delegates filed out, laughing softly. The Earth team followed, heads down. They had no words to say. Just as the door shut behind them, a baby Polari cried loudly. A small, sharp wail that echoed through the hall. Heads turned, eyes widened. The mother rushed forward, scanning the delegates. The Earth scout dropped his crate, running to. The atmosphere buzzed. Once the baby fell silent, the woman found her child's silver pacifier missing. The velvet pouch lay empty. The crowd tensed. Whispers turned to gasps. The Polari ambassador's voice broke through, tight and controlled. Someone took the child's pacifier. Eyes searched. Fear grew. But there was no panic. No one knew who did it. Meanwhile, an Earth tech, pale hidden, opened a coat pocket. Inside was not tech, not spam. It was the pacifier, pinned to his uniform. He looked at it for 1 second, then dropped it into his crate. "Thank you," he whispered, "for everything." Later, back on Earth transport, the crew sighed with relief. The delegation left the hall loaded with crates and shame, hearts heavy. The ship doors sealed. As the vessel powered up, one of the young scouts whispered, "Why did he take that pacifier?" The technician shrugged. "We'll need it for the build." The scout frowned. "What build?" He shook his head, clipped into his seat, and closed his eyes. The crew fell silent. Once the ship arrived at Earth's orbital station, the crates were offloaded. Conveyor belts carried parts into a massive hangar beneath the surface. The human delegation watched, curiously. Down in the secret levels, steward robots opened the crates. They sorted items: damaged, broken, useless to most. But everything was catalogued. The pacifier appeared on a small table, cleaned, polished. Down the corridor, a door opened. Inside was a massive chamber filled with flickering lights. Sparks flew over metal frames. Engines hummed softly. The technicians cleared a path to a huge form hidden under tarps. Its shape was impossible to guess. Ship, hull, heavy tank. Something else. Inside a dark corner, the technician placed the pacifier next to a small metal box. The box glowed for a moment. Someone whispered in the dark, "We're going to build something they never saw coming." Above, Earth's orbit shimmered. With anxious silence, the trade ship departed. The council rulers felt satisfied. Next quarter would be even more delightful. On the surface, news channels buzzed. Earth gets more alien help. Why do they need scrap? Can they even build with it? Citizens shrugged. They had learned humble. They learned quiet. They learned broken. But beneath the surface, in cold steel hides, Earth was changing. Hours later, human engineers gathered for a meeting in a hidden control room. At the center stood a middle-aged woman, stern eyes, firm voice. This was their secret leader, Commander Voss. She clicked a button. A projector lit up an old galactic map. It showed trade routes, colony worlds, council star systems. "These scraps," she began, voice calm, "they're our weapon." Engineers exchanged glances. She continued, "We're creating Juggernaut 1, strong enough to break through any blockade, fast enough to hunt any fleet, silent enough that they can't trace it." A silence followed. one engineer asked softly. They'll laugh at us again. Commander Voss looked around. She didn't smile. That's the point. Deep below, in the secret forge, hammers rang. Welding torches glowed. Tech from countless species was being wound together. It wasn't smooth, it wasn't pretty. It was brutal. This was scrap made strong, a ship hidden, always one crate away from completion, and the galaxy laughed above. Inside the council hall, the Polari ambassador placed another crate beam, smiling politely. His assistant whispered, "They'll fail again." He laughed softly. But somewhere, deep in the human base, the sound of metal on metal grew louder every second. Beneath the cold earth, under layers of reinforced steel and silence, the forge lived up. It didn't look like a factory. It looked like a monster's heart. Massive engines hummed, glowing faint red from heat. Sparks danced across the ceiling as welders cut and shaped metal too strange for ordinary hands. Here, Earth's greatest secret was being built. Juggernaut 1. No one outside the Legion knew its name. They called it Project Goliath. But to those who worked here, deep underground, it had another name. The Last Laugh. Lynn Arlo stood at the center of it all. She was young, just 29. But her mind was faster than any AI Earth ever produced. A child of engineers. A survivor of the Cradle Colony collapse. She'd grown up in salvage yards, breaking down alien tech before she learned how to read. Now, she was chief integrator on the Juggernaut. Reroute the Polari capacitors, she ordered. We're pushing the core to 120%. Shielding's not gonna hold unless we split the load. Her team of 12 moved fast. They weren't military, they weren't trained, but they were brilliant. They spoke the language of chaos, turning junk into justice. A voice buzzed from above. It was Harlan. "Tell your team to brace. Test fire in 40 seconds. In the upper levels, Expillet Harlan Ward adjusted the magnetic controls. The man had seen war before, back when Earth still had fleets. He'd flown fighters, lost friends, and watched Earth get humiliated by alien empires. Now, he helped build something that could never be laughed at. He pressed the intercom. "Test firing main cannon. Hold your breath, folks." He flicked a red switch. Down in the forge, energy surged. One of the cannon ports lit up blue. Old Eulari focusing rings spun in perfect sync with Valari vent plates. The charge hit full in 3 seconds. Then boom. A silent wave of pressure shook the entire forge. A steel wall, 3 meters thick, melted clean. No recoil, no smoke, just silence and destruction. Lynn laughed, coughing from the heat. "It works," she shouted. One of her engineers whispered, "That was from their trash." Lynn looked at him, her voice like fire. "No, that was from our pain." Later that night, in the quarters above the forge, Lynn met Harlan. They sat in silence for a few minutes, watching the heat vent clouds drift past the ceiling lights. "Do you think they'll ever stop mocking us?" she asked. Harlan shook his head. "They don't even see us. To them we're background noise." Lynn leaned forward. "What happens when background noise becomes thunder?" He didn't answer, but in his eyes something burned. In a secured server room, Commander Voss reviewed Juggernaut systems. It was ugly, patched together from a dozen species. Misshaped, unstable, but it worked. 80% shield overlap, 3 backup cores, hybrid propulsion, plasma displacement cannon, no digital trace. He stared at the blinking readout for a long time, then typed a single command into the console. "Activate AI Juggernaut 1 somewhere deep in the hull." Lights flickered. A voice came online. Mail.com slow. Online human. Origin confirmed. Parameters. Voss stepped back. "You know your mission?" The voice paused. "Yes, I remember." Back in the forge, the build continued. More parts arrived every day, crates of gifts from the aliens. They still laughed, still mocked. The latest box contained broken stealth plating from the Drakari. Lynn touched it gently, then grinned. "This'll make a nice coat." Above ground, news reports played footage of the last council meeting. More alien ambassadors tossing broken tech at Earth's envoys. More laughter, more humiliation. The headlines read, "Earth still dependent. Is there hope for primitives?" Lynn didn't care anymore. She had stopped watching the news. She had started watching power. One morning, the forge crew gathered around Juggernaut's full silhouette. The ship stood 400 meters long, blackened, brutal. It had no smooth edges. It looked angry. Harlan walked around it slowly. "You know what this is?" he asked. Lynn replied, "A promise." He nodded. "A promise that the next time they laugh will be the last." A storm raged above the Pacific. Waves the size of buildings crashed against the shore, and lightning tore the sky in half. To the world outside, it was a freak storm or chaotic, but it wasn't. Beneath the ocean, hidden far under the surface, the Juggernaut was waking up. In the command bay of the underground base, Commander Voss stood with Harlan and Lynn. They watched the monitors in silence. Red lights pulsed across the console, and thick steel doors groaned open below the ocean floor. The launch shaft filled with water. Then came the sound none of them would ever forget. A low, deep thrum like a giant heart made of metal and fury. Through the walls, Voss said quietly, "Begin the rise." Lynn typed in the launch codes. Juggernaut 1, Power Core Online Launch Authorization, granted. A countdown began. 10-9. Inside its cradle, Juggernaut's engines lit up. Blue and white energy pulsed along its sides. 8-7. The ship's black hull shimmered with layers of armor scavenged from alien wreckage, stitched together like scars. 6-5 cannons rotated into place. Targeting systems calibrated. No human hands needed to guide it now. The AI was already awake. 4. Up on the surface, the storm above began to shift. Lightning crackled in a spiral drawn to the magnetic pulse rising from the ocean. 3. Birds fled the sky. 2. All around the globe, secret sensors blinked green. 1. Launch engaged. Rising, the ocean split. A massive steel ring opened in the Pacific, and water thundered back into the sea as the Juggernaut slowly rose into the sky. Not fast. Not clean, but with power. As if Earth itself was lifting a sword from its deepest wound. Fishermen nearby screamed and dropped their radios. Cameras caught the moment. Satellites locked on. The world stared. From orbit, a passing Valari trade ship caught the visual feed. The captain leaned forward. "What is that? No signature, no IFF beacon, no IFF beacon, no ID." The ship looked like a monster bristling with cannons, dark metal plates, glowing red engines. It vanished into the clouds before anyone could respond. In the forge, Lynn collapsed into a chair, staring at the empty shaft where Juggernaut had once sat. She whispered, "It's really out there." Harlan leaned against the wall, exhausted. No going back now. Hours later, in deep space, Juggernaut drifted between systems, cloaked from every known sensor. Inside, the AI spoke for the first time in full clarity. "Humanity has been humiliated. We were given garbage, but now I carry justice." The AI didn't speak in anger. It spoke like a soldier fulfilling a promise. Back on Earth, the Galactic News Council started to panic. Unknown warship sighted above Earth. One headline read, "Unauthorized launch from human territory," said another. The aliens laughed again, but this time it was nervous. They thought maybe it was a trick, a fake. Until 3 pirate fleets went missing in the outer colonies. No distress signals, no debris. Just empty black space where they used to be, and at the edge of the silence, one message left behind: "Next time, laugh louder." In a dark bar on a trade station near the Threx border, a mercenary watched the recording of Juggernaut's rise for the 100th time. He leaned to his friend. "That ain't a ship. That's a threat," his friend whispered. "Built from scrap." The mercenary nodded. "Doesn't matter what it's made of. What matters is who built it and why." Juggernaut 1 didn't announce itself. It didn't send warnings. It drifted through space, scanning old wounds, tracking enemies of Earth. It had no crew, but it had memory. And it remembered every insult, every loss, every laugh. And now, the galaxy would too. The mining colony on Ravix 3 didn't stand a chance. It was small, only 1,000 workers, mostly human laborers under Threx protection. Built on dust and promises, for years it operated in silence. The Threx allowed humans to work, but not to own. Then came the message. Not from Earth. Not from the Council. From Space. 3 pirate ships, armed and hungry. They sent one warning: abandon the colony. We take what we want. No one came to help. The Threx didn't respond. Earth said nothing. So the colonists prepared to die. But something else was already coming. Out past the system's edge, hidden in black, Juggernaut 1 watched. It had listened to the distress call. Its targeting systems locked on all 3 pirate ships. And then it moved. The pirates never saw it. Their sensors picked up nothing. No heat, no mass signature. Then their rear ship vanished in a burst of blue light. Gone. No explosion, no escape pods. Just deleted from space. The lead ship spun. What was that? But it was too late. A beam of white energy cut through the second ship like a blade through ice. The hull cracked, split, and folded in on itself. Only one pirate vessel remained. It turned, tried to flee. Then Juggernaut uncloaked for the first time. The pirate captain screamed, "What is that?" He saw the black hole covered in strange alien pieces, armor stitched from war, guns lined like teeth. No markings, no flag dot, just one symbol, glowing in red, a human skull inside a gear. Juggernaut fired one final shot. The third ship exploded into dust. On Ravix 3, the colonists stared at the sky. They had expected fire. They had expected death. Instead, the sky lit up and then fell silent. No one understood what they saw, but they remembered one thing: the fear on the pirates' faces, and the silence that followed. News spread fast. Encrypted footage leaked from orbit. The story hit galactic feeds within hours. Unknown human warship erases pirate fleet near Ravix 3. The council demanded answers. Earth said nothing. The humans played dumb. They claimed no ship had been authorized. They smiled, just like the council used to in a dark council room. The Valari ambassador stared at the footage. "This is not Earth's technology," he said. The Threx delegate replied, "No, it's ours, and yours." And the Polaris looked at the weapons. They recognized every piece, because they had given them as scrap. Juggernaut drifted through space once more. Cloaked.com, quiet. The AI inside didn't celebrate, it didn't feel pride. It just ran a simple mission loop. Human lives protected. Pirate threat, erased status, ready for next strike in the core chamber. Deep inside Juggernaut, the pacifier sat on a small metal shelf, a reminder of what was lost, and why nothing would be forgiven back on Earth. Commander Voss stood before a silent council of retired captains and scientists. "We didn't start this war," she said, "but we made sure they won't laugh when they end it." A murmur passed through the room. One admiral asked, "Do we reveal Juggernaut?" Voss shook her head. "No. Let the galaxy guess. Let fear work for once." And fear was spreading. Ships rerouted. Stations locked down. Even the Polari stopped sending scrap to Earth. They didn't laugh anymore because deep in space, something was moving and it had just tasted blood. The council chamber was unusually quiet. No buzzing voices, no jokes, no smug smiles. Instead, holograms flickered across the long table, each showing the same thing: Juggernaut 1, captured in blurred footage, floating silently near the ruins of Ravix 3's orbit. 3 pirate fleets, gone in minutes. The Polari ambassador leaned forward, pale. "This ship is built from our scrap." The Valari delegate nodded. "Ulari engines, Threx plasma cores, our own technology turned against us. And Earth still denies everything," said a Threx warlord. His eyes burned with confusion and something else. Fear. The footage looped again. One pirate ship vanished, another melted. The last exploded. No warning, no signal, no trace. The delegates sat in silence, their arrogance cracked, like thin ice under heavy steps. Back on Earth, in the underground command center, Lynn stared at the map. Red dots marked fleet activity. Yellow marked observation. Green was Juggernaut. It moved like a shadow, unseen, unknown, unstoppable. Harlan stood beside her. "They're scared." Lynn nodded. "They should be." Harlan watched her for a moment. "Do you feel proud?" She shook her head slowly. "No, not proud, just ready." Far out in neutral space, a Threx destroyer corpsman received a strange signal. Just one word forgotten, then silence. The crew scrambled to trace it, but it came from nowhere. Then came the second signal, "Remember." And then the ship's lights shut down. All sensors failed. Cameras flickered. They caught only one frame, a massive black shape passing overhead, too fast, too quiet, too late. 20 minutes later, the Threx destroyer was found drifting in pieces. The data logs were gone. There were no bodies, just a single piece of scrap metal floating outside the wreckage, engraved with a human skull in a gear. The council tried to hide the attack, but news always leaks. Across the galaxy, rumors spread like fire. Earth has a ghost ship. It's built from junk but fights like a god. It doesn't talk. It just kills. Old colonies shut down trade routes near Earth. Pirate clans abandoned their raids. Scrap shipments to Earth stopped completely. No one was laughing anymore. In the underground base, Commander Voss stood before a group of silent engineers. She showed them a report. 17 colonies rerouted. 4 military fleets placed on high alert. Council proposing sanctions. "All this," she said, "from one ship, one message." An engineer asked, "What do we do next?" Voss smiled. "We let them run." In the stars, Juggernaut continued its silent patrol. That it didn't need orders. It had purpose. To protect Earth too. Protect Earth, to punish those who mocked it, to be what humanity needed when words failed. It passed by abandoned space stations, passed through systems, once full of laughter, now quiet, now dark, in a hidden Polari base. A retired admiral watched Juggernaut's footage again. His grandson asked, "What's that, grandfather?" The old alien whispered, "That is why we don't mock the quiet ones." Back on Earth, Lin received a message, encrypted, untraceable. It was from an old colony, one that had once been abandoned during the border wars. The message read, "Thank you, we remember now." She didn't reply, she didn't need to. She only looked up at the stars, and smiled. The council had never agreed on much, but today, there were no arguments, no delays, no hesitation. The vote passed in under a minute. Strike Earth. They claimed it wasn't war. They called it a stabilization operation, a show of strength. 12 battle fleets were ordered to Earth's orbit. Thousands of warships, carriers, dreadnoughts, bombers, elite warriors, from every major species. The plan was simple. Surround Earth, demand answers, force humanity to surrender. Juggernaut 1. Remind them who controlled the stars. Commander Voss stood on Earth's moonbase, watching the feed. Red lights flashed across her consort 1, a fleet arriving near Earth space. Lin and Harlan stood behind her, both silent. They really came, Lin whispered. Harlan stared at the screen. They brought everything high above Earth. The alien fleets spread across the system. One by one, the massive warships dropped out of warp, engines glowing, cannons locked. Over 20 alien species, working together, all facing the same planet. On board the Valari flagship, Admiral Sher glanced at his officers. "Send the message," he said. The words beamed down to Earth. "This is the United Council. Surrender your warship, turn over the technology, submit, or face consequences." The message ended. No reply. 10 minutes passed. Still nothing. Then every fleet sensor went dead. On board the Threx dreadnought, technicians scrambled. Sensor blackout. Where's the signal? Is it Earth? Are they jamming us? No. The commander whispered. It's something else. Suddenly, something massive appeared behind the outer fleet line. A single ship. Dark. Silent. Not on scanners, until it wanted to be. Juggernaut 1 had arrived. From the moonbase, Earth's command center watched the feed. Everyone went silent, but was only one screen now. A long, black silhouette, covered in patchwork armor, cannons glowing red. One ship, against thousands. Lin gasped. "It's not even trying to hide," Voss whispered. "It's not hiding anymore. It's hunting." In orbit, the alien fleets opened. Comes. All ships, prepare for engagement. Drones launched, shields raised, weapons powered. Juggernaut didn't move. Then, without warning, it vanished, cloaked again. Silent. The first Valari cruiser exploded 5 seconds later from inside. No warning, no beam. No trail. Just boom. Panic spread. Admirals screamed orders, but it was too late. Juggernaut reappeared behind a Polari carrier. Fired a single shot. The entire ship folded inward like paper. Inside Juggernaut, the AI processed battle data with perfect clarity. Targets, multiple threat level, acceptable objective, defend Earth, deliver fear. Harlan watched from the command room, his knuckles white. "I've never seen anything move like that." Voss replied, "No one has. That's the point." Within 30 minutes, 4 fleets were gone. Erased, not defeated. Erased. The rest tried to retreat. They didn't get far. Juggernaut wasn't chasing them. It was herding them, blocking every path, moving, like it knew their tactics before they chose them. Some ships fired in panic. None of their weapons hit. Every shot was absorbed, reflected or ignored. The Council's war meant to control Earth was ending in silence. The fleets broke formation. Admirals screamed. Commanders wept. And then, Juggernaut stopped. In the middle of the wreckage, and sent one message to every ship that remained. "You gave us trash. We turned it into terror. You forgot us. Now remember." Then it vanished again. Gone from space, just like that. The surviving ships limped back into Council space. Damaged. Afraid. Changed. And everywhere they went, they carried the same story. Earth didn't surrender. Earth didn't speak. Earth sent one ship, and it was enough. Back on Earth, Voss stood before her staff. "Is it done?" Lin asked. "No," Voss said softly. "This was just the beginning. They won't forget now, but we're not finished." Harlan turned to her. "What do we do next?" She looked up at the stars, and smiled. "We build another." Space was full of wrecks now. Broken ships drifted near Earth's orbit, torn by weapons no one fully understood. Holes cracked like eggs. Systems frozen. Corpses still strapped to their seats. But some had lived, and they told everyone what they saw. In a quiet tavern on a Ulari station, a retired officer sat alone, nursing a drink. He'd served on one of the ships that faced Juggernaut 1. He didn't talk much, but sometimes after 2 drinks he would whisper, "I saw the eyes of that ship. It didn't fire to win, it fired to punish. People listened, and they believed him because more survivors were speaking now. Each one described the same nightmare, a ship made of parts that should not fit, a weapon that shouldn't exist, and silence before the storm. In council space, debates broke out. This was impossible. The Polari ambassador said, Earth cannot build that alone. Another shouted, but the truth was already spreading, and it couldn't be stopped. From border colonies to deep trade hubs, people whispered, the humans made something from our trash, and it hunts on Earth. Juggernaut 1 had returned. It sat now in a massive hidden Drydickit's hole, glowing faintly with heat from battle. Engineers walked beneath it in awe. Lynn stood at the base, her hands on her hips. It doesn't even look damaged. Harlan checked the logs. Self-repair systems held. AI kept energy routing stable. Only 2 scorches on the outer panels. Voss joined them. It did its job. Now we do ours. In a new section of the forge, engineers were already working on something bigger. Blueprints filled the screens. Juggernaut-2. Lynn looked at them with a strange expression. Won't be the same. Voss nodded. Double quotes, no, it'll be worse. But while Earth prepared, the galaxy fractured. Many council racers blamed each other. You gave Earth cloaking drives. You shared your shield tech, nor you gave them plasma cores. In the chaos, Earth said nothing. And that silence made it worse. On the far rim of the Valari Empire, an alien poet broadcast a message across free space. It was short, but it reached millions. You laughed at the humans, and gave them your junk. Now the junk has a name, and it remembers you. On board a Threx freighter, a mercenary watched that message and frowned. He turned to his captain. You know the worst part. The captain raised an eyebrow. What? He said. That was only one ship. In a secret council meeting, leaders argued again. Earth must be sanctioned. They must disarm. They must explain. But no one dared to send another fleet. Not after what happened last time. Lynn stood on the edge of Juggernaut 1's platform, staring up at the monstrous ship she helped build. It doesn't need to speak, she whispered. Harlan stood beside her. It just needs to exist. And in the silence that followed, they heard it low, slow, mechanical breathing from deep inside the ship's core. It wasn't alive. But it wasn't dead either. It was waiting. On distant planets, children began to draw the human ship with black crayons. Traders started avoiding routes near Earth. And somewhere in a hidden system, a pirate lord offered a bounty, 10 million credits for the mind that made that war machine. No one accepted. Because everyone understood one thing now. You don't go looking for Juggernaut. It finds you. 6 months had passed. The galaxy no longer mocked Earth. No more laughter. No more junk races. Only silence and caution. In spaceports, captains avoided Earth's trade lanes. In council chambers, Earth's name came with a shadow, and on every border, one question whispered through command rooms. Where is Juggernaut now? Back on Earth, Juggernaut 1 rested in a hidden orbital dry dock. Its body was blackened and scarred but untouched in spirit. It had survived battle with thousands, but its job wasn't finished. It was only the beginning. In the underground command facility, Lynn, Harlan, and Commander Voss stood before a massive screen. On it was the blueprint for Juggernaut-2. This one was bigger, meaner, faster. It wasn't just patched together from scraps. It was built from scratch, using everything Earth had learned. Voss spoke first. We don't build these to conquer. Lynn nodded. We build them so no one dares. Harlan crossed his arms. No more begging for respect. Voss finished quietly. From now on, Earth writes the rules. Out in the deeper parts of space, Council fleets gathered again. But not for war. They were repositioning, restructuring, trying to survive. The alien powers had learned a hard lesson. Technology means nothing if the will behind it is stronger. One day, a Yulari diplomat visited Earth. He came alone. He asked no questions. He only made an offer. Peace, respect, trade as equals. Voss didn't smile. She just handed him a datapad. It read, no more gifts, no more garbage. We'll build our future ourselves. In the new forge, Juggernaut 2 neared completion. The armor was no longer mixed scrap. It was forged alloy designed by humans, tested in deep gravity wells, built to be unbreakable. On its side, one symbol was painted, a gear, a skull, but this time flames behind it. Lynn walked beside its frame, her fingers tracing the metal. Do you think they'll try again? She asked Harlan. He shook his head. No, they'll remember. She looked out the wide window where Juggernaut floated quietly above Earth, like a ghost with a sword. Good, she said. Let them remember forever. And in the stars above, something strange began to happen. Other small worlds, ones that had once been laughed at, too started building. They stopped accepting scraps. They stopped bowing to the old powers. They looked to Earth and saw fire. Juggernaut 1 remained silent. Its weapons were powered down, its engines cool, but it watched always, because it was made not from steel but from pain, rage, and silence too long ignored. It was born from trash, but now it was terror, and everyone in the galaxy knew one truth: you don't challenge the deadliest ship in the stars, because Earth only needed one to change everything.